Hi, I'm going to show you how to go about creating gears. We don't create gears in the .ipt format, we actually create it in the assembly. So what I do is I click new, go to the assembly.iam and select this create. Prior to creating it, I'll just save this file and I'll save it as assembly3, yes, and I'll go under the design tab. You can choose either a worm gear or bevel gear, and let's go for spur gears first. And what I'll do is that we uncheck the internal because we're not creating internal gears, we're creating 2 spur gears. And I would like to keep my module at 1.5. Okay, so control my module at 1.5. And what happens is that if you are 3D printing your gears, I would recommend you to 3D print modules 1.5 and greater, because for 1.0 the 3D printers don't do a very good job in it. Okay? From here you can check. Very importantly is your gear ratio, your desired gear ratio. I can change it to 2 and I can calculate it. And what will happen is that you see 2 times 18 is 36. So gear 2 is 36. Over here is gear 2, over here is gear 1. For the face width, I can leave it at 20 millimeters. It says here that there is a calculation error and it indicates a design failure. And sometimes when this happens, you can actually go to the calculation and you'll see on this window what is it that is failing. You move your mouse over to it and it says that there is a static safety in contact. That means under the static stress, it's really too high. So what happens is that if you can go over here and you can indicate your power, you can lower your power to 0.02 or 1. Let's try 1. And if you were to click calculate, everything goes black, means you're okay. Go to the design, recalculate again, make sure that these are the number of teeth that you have correct, and you click OK. When that is done, you should have 2 spur gears coming up on your screen. Okay? Right, now for your spur gears, I can choose to go to view, and usually I like mine shaded with edges. You can see that my spur gear is really thick, and what I can do is that under the spur gears, you can see this is spur gear 1. I can open it up and it is now a .ipt file. Okay, and I can save it, file, save as .ipt gear 1. Okay, if you find that the gear width is too high, you can actually reduce the gear width by I can finish sketch, and what I can do is I can extrude it. I can extrude cut by 10 millimeters or maybe even more, 15. I feel that it's too much, right? And I click OK. And what it does is that it cuts the gear teeth. Now what will happen is that a gear is usually attached to a rod, and for most of the rod sizes that we have, 4mm rod or 6mm rod, you can decide and draw your circle so that you can create. Now let me adjust it more accurately to 6mm or 4. Let's see, it's a 4mm rod, so what I'll do is I'll put a 4.1. Because I want it to be an idler gear, I want it to spin freely on the rod, so I make it slightly larger at 4.1 millimeters. Click OK. And I click extrude, and I will select extrude cut over here, and I will cut a hole in the gear. Okay. With this, the gear is ready for 3D printing, and I can print out this gear and put it in. Now if you decide to have this gear press fit on a rod, to have it spin, and you want to design a boss on the gear, you can actually draw a larger circle. Okay, and determine your diameter, let's say diameter 9 or diameter 10, and I click OK. And when I extrude, I could extrude this donut out. Have it 10 millimeters, and I have created a boss on the gear. You could then create your cross holes so that you can insert your press fit M3 nut, then you can insert a set screw to set this to lock onto the shaft, so that when the gear rotates, the shaft rotates as well. So you could do a lot of post design on the gears that were generated earlier on in the assembly file over here. Okay. Thank you very much for your attention. This is all I have for you for now.